balance is different for every person. We're like, if he says right now that he absolutely loves just working and doing taxes all day, every day, holidays, that makes him happy. Who am I to say that he's wrong?
Welcome to Accounting High.
Introducing the star of our show,
The Balanced CPA.
we're gonna have a problem here.
Students, you're in for a treat today. Today I am joined by the Balanced CPA straight out of New Jersey. We got more New Jersey guests on the show today. Nick Boscia. It's actually Nick Boscia, which I just learned. You go by Nick. Your name is Lewis. You work with your brother and you took over your dad's firm. This is a family affair, homie. Thanks for joining us at Accounting High.
Thanks for having me.
You're a CPA. You're also an EA for our students. You've been at this for a little while now. You've been running this firm with your brother, and we'll talk about how you guys got into it. Took it over from your dad. You and I had met a couple years ago, scaling new heights, and I've seen you out and about in this community of accountants and CPAs, and I keep seeing this balanced CPA. And I would love for you to describe to our students what the balanced CPA means, just to kick us off, Nick.
No, you definitely did your homework. Not a lot of people know that my first name's Lewis, so it's a long story behind that. But the balanced CPA basically has been a culmination of all my life events along my journey becoming an accountant. But basically growing up, my dad ran our accounting firm, Boscia and Boscia, and he worked...
Wait, growing up it was Boscia and Boscia? Or was it just Boscia?
It was always Boscia and Boscia.
Was it him and his brother too?
So his dad was an accountant.
Oh.
They actually never worked together, but he kind of like did it like in honor of his dad because dad passed. So that he had Boscia and Boscia. So it was really just him.
Did he have the future foresight that his sons would go into this?
I guess so. I guess he knew somehow, but
he made that very scalable for you guys.
Yeah. So it definitely made the transition very easy. But like growing up, my dad was never around. He worked 7 days a week. He worked weekends, holidays. So when I think back, like that's what brought the balanced CPA about. Because even when I met you,
he had no balance.
He had absolutely no balance. Yeah, he was an awesome accountant from that standpoint. Like his clients came first. He would take calls if you were calling him Friday night. If he's in the middle of a family dinner, he's taking his client's call. Like that was kind of his MO. He's like, my clients are my
first.
family. Mm-hmm. Yep, which was great, but you realize like we only have so much focus, and where your focus goes, energy flows. So, like if you're focusing on your body and your health, you're gonna have a great body probably. If you're focused on making money, you're probably gonna make a lot of money. So his whole focus was just on his career, which the business grew, and that was awesome. But he got divorced from my mom when I was young. I was 13. I was a freshman in high school. He didn't ever really like focus any time on building friendships. So this day doesn't really have a lot of friends. It just kind of goes from there.
Pops is alone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did he get remarried?
No, never got remarried.
Or is he still married to the work?
Still married to the work.
Is he doing anything at Boscia and Boscia?
No, nothing at Boscia and Boscia. So when he like semi-retired in 2018, like we fully took reins in 2018, and then
you didn't even let him come back.
Yeah, we're like, you have to retire, you have to chill, but he just never wanted to stop. So he'll still take on clients. We still refer clients to him that are a better fit for him because he's really old school. Like when we get into the way we modernized our firm, it's like he never changed in the 50 years he did things. What he did 50 years ago is still what he's doing today. And he doesn't want to use technology. He never wanted to teach anyone, never train people. Like he didn't want to grow his firm and like have a team. He just wanted to do everything himself. So when me and my brother first joined, it was difficult.
So the balance is sort of like the anti-dad. This is like, I want to be everything that he wasn't, and I want to make sure that I have a fulfilled life, right?
And it's funny, it's part of that, because even when I tell my fiance Christine about my dad, it's like balance is different for every person. We're like, if he says right now that he absolutely loves just working and doing taxes all day, every day, holidays, and that makes him happy, who am I to say that he's wrong? Right. I just knew that I didn't want that for myself. I know I love traveling. I love spending time with my fiance. I like eating healthy, going to the gym.
How long has she been your fiance? When are you guys getting married?
So we got engaged in April. So this
Okay,
past
okay.
April, we are having a long engagement. So we're not getting married till the next May, not this upcoming May, the following May.
All
So
right, all right,
we
all
have
right.
time for planning, doing the bachelorette party, the bachelor party, engagement party. There's just so much to plan.
You guys have been
So
together for a while. She was your girlfriend then. She wasn't even
yep,
fiance. She was your girlfriend.
exactly. Yep,
Yeah.
yeah. So we've been together for like over 4 years now. So,
Wow.
but like the balance CPA, like part of it is like, tax season gets crazy. And one year when we were first dating, like I was like spending a lot of time in the office, working a lot. I would come home, I'd be burnt out. And
This is
then,
before the balanced CPA existed.
yeah, exactly. Like the concept was
You were
always
just
there, but
the
like,
CPA. You
yeah,
were-
I was just a CPA.
yeah.
But
You can say the.
yeah, I just realized like I was focusing all my energy on my clients, growing the firm and doing taxes and all that good stuff. But then I was coming home burnt out for Christine, and that wasn't really fair. And then negatively impacting our relationship. And when you think about your life as a whole, like what are the things that matter the most? Making money is great, but I don't think that's really like a big key indicator of how happy you are. With me and Christine were in a fight. I don't care if everything at the office is going great. My day's going pretty bad when
Yep.
you're in a fight with your significant other or your family or whatever. So that's where I'm constantly trying to rebalance. Like I'll definitely get out of balance, work too much or take too many vacations, and then I have to rebalance and get back to homeostasis.
So you're into fitness too. Does that get some of the balance? Does that take away some of that, or is that how have you integrated all of that together?
Yeah, yeah. So I think for me, like the health is the most important thing, regardless if you're like into the gym or anything like that. Like I like going to the gym, but it's like I think about my like fitness and health goals are for my long term planning. Like my goal, like I want to be like 90 years old and I want to be able to do a 5K. Maybe I don't know if that could maybe not a marathon, but like a 5K. Like I want to be live into my older years, but also feel healthy and feel good. Because a lot of times people are focused on their career and they neglect their health. And then they're at an age when they're supposed to enjoy their money, enjoy their successes, but they're not like healthy enough to do the things that they maybe wanted to do when they were 30 or 40. So I like keep that. And that's part of my balance. It's like, I know to, I have to take care of my body now because later it's going to be harder to do those things.
How old was your dad when you guys took over for him?
So when I first joined the firm, it was 2013, and my dad now is 76.
So he was
So
60.
he was like 66
in his
around.
60s.
Yeah, yeah. So
And you guys took it over when right before he was 70 then, I guess, when
yeah,
or around
exactly.
70.
Yep,
Okay.
around 70. Yeah.
All right. And how long had he been doing it? You said his dad did it too?
His dad didn't work in this firm, but his dad was an accountant. I'm pretty sure he worked for like the IRS or something like something in the accounting
Wow.
world, but not like not like doing tax.
And do you have any other brothers or sisters?
Just me and my older
Just
brother.
you and your brother ended up becoming accountants. Your brother, to clarify, your brother's not a CPA and your dad wasn't a CPA, so we can't go back to sons of CPAs with this one. But you are a CPA and an EA. So you overcompensated for your brother and your dad by getting both.
Yeah.
Explain that to our students here. Why get the EA if you're already a CPA?
Yeah, I guess I'm just kind of like a nerd. I love learning and like people like I feel like people say that
Got a lot of
right?
degrees behind you and stuff.
Yeah,
certificates.
yeah. So like it's the reason why I got it is like I got my CPA license like right out of school. I
You
took
went to Penn State, is that right?
Yeah, I went to Penn State, got my master's at Penn State. That summer, I got a job offer at or after I graduated, I got a full-time offer at PwC. But I didn't want to start right away. I was like, let me take the 4 months off, study. I basically studied a month, knocked out each part, got the CPA license, and then I joined the family firm like after a year at PwC because I was just getting burnt out over there. I'm sure you hear the stories. But then, and then I was working with my brother and my dad, and I felt like being in a small firm, it was literally just the three of us. I felt like no growth. It was like doing the same thing over and over, and I wanted to learn. So like, I remember going to an accounting conference, and there's only one speaker who was a CPA and an EA, and I'm just like, oh, I want to do that. So then I just did.
You wanted to
and
be
like,
that token one guy that could have both, right?
exactly. So
Yeah.
if you're like, why do you do it? I'm like, oh, because I just wanted to learn. I actually like the EA more because I feel like the CPA license, more of what I learned the CPA, I don't use. With the EA, like a lot that I learned is more valuable than some of the CPA material
EA is very
our
practical.
industry.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. I'm an
So,
EA.
Yeah.
I'm an EA until the mid next year because I did not get my CPE credits or CE credits.
Do
So
you
I've
want
let
to?
that lapse. No, I don't care. I don't think I'm going to use it anymore. That's the other point of it. Like I'm at the point in my stage where I don't think I'm going to continually actively use it. So don't need it. You are keeping them both active. And that's because do you feel like you use them actively? Or is it part of
I
your
feel like,
branding now?
yeah,
You
I
don't
feel
have
like
to
it's
balance
more.
DA.
No, balance EA could work, but yeah, the balance CPA just has a better ring to it, I
I
think.
don't think it could work. Nobody knows what EA is. Like they
I
know what CPAs are.
Yeah, yeah. So I keep them both just because it's like the hard part's done. So keeping the CPEs, I think, pretty easy. But I think it's more for like marketing. It's like all the time we get a new client who calls and like, hey, I only want to talk to a CPA. I'm like, well, I'm a CPA, and that's the extent of it. But I think
Okay.
it's like when
So
I
they
was
don't want to
20.
talk to your big bro.
So
So
yeah, some
so
clients, yeah. So which actually is a benefit.
it's a benefit. Okay, fair.
Yeah. So like my brother, he's like a big car guy. So like he'll go to like car events and people have like really high end cars and he'll get a client. They're like, oh, I want to work with you. And then they'll be like, oh, I only want to work with the CPA. So we could still land the client and I could do their work and then everyone's happy essentially. Because he made that he's like more into networking and meeting new people and sales, where I'm like kind of the nerd. Like I like doing taxes and I like helping people save money and things like that.
Okay. Okay. So you guys have a team, this is a partnership here. It's a partnership. Is it a CPA firm
Technically, it's
or
not a CPA.
technically what is it? Is it
So
just a
it's just an accounting firm. It's like our business is Boscia and Boscia PC.
PC? Okay. So it's
Yeah.
not like CPAs or
Mm-mm.
anything. And
Yeah,
when you
no.
took it over from your dad, now let's get the lay of the land here. When you guys bought it from him, was there any employees besides the two of you guys?
No.
Okay. So no employees, it's just the two of you guys, and you were running it by yourselves. Now you guys have built a bit of a team, right? What's the head
Mm.
count?
So now it's me and my brother, and then we have 5 employees.
And this was 2017 that you guys took it over. So what are we,
Uh,
7 years in?
so 2018, we took it
18.
over. Yeah. And then, like, when our dad was still here, we still had, like, interns that would help out with things. But then once he left, then we had full time. We finally had our first full time. And
And what was the practice? Was it just taxes or what else was
it was
the
tax and bookkeeping, which is
and
still
bookkeeping?
is now. Yeah.
Still is. Taxes and
Hmm.
bookkeeping as you guys are
Yeah.
serving mostly businesses, small business clients.
Yeah, small business
Okay.
clients. So
And
we do about like 200 business bookkeeping clients every month, like on a monthly basis, and then tax returns we do about 1,600 individual, and then 250 business, like S
holy
corp
cow.
partnerships. Yeah.
Did you say 200, roughly 200 monthly clients?
Hmm.
What's the average that they're paying monthly?
Average would be like 200 a month.
About 200 a month? Okay.
Yeah.
And your tax return, what's the average tax return that you
I'd
do?
say average tax return is like 400 to 500.
Where's the balance during tax season? How do you guys do this?
Yeah. So it's been a long journey to transition, but like we used to, like when I first started I was working like a ton. I took no vacation. That was just like my dad's like motto. And then
I
really
thought
the
you were going to say
key.
I took Novocaine. You took no vacation. You might
And
need to be on some Novocaine too. This is crazy. So you guys were probably doing about 2,000 returns at that time. You're probably doing less now than you were then.
when we started with my dad, we were doing, I think we had like 700, so we more than
Oh,
doubled.
you're doing more. Okay.
We're doing a lot more. So when we did the transition, it's been like a small incremental process. Like we've been kind of raising our prices, buttoning up like what clients are our ideal client. Because like we had a lot of clients that think taking over a legacy firm, a lot of old school clients who don't have an email. You have to do everything paper,
Sure.
mailing. So like that was difficult because they're clients that have been with us for a really long time. And you just know that some of those legacy clients you want to work with you and you want to make them happy, but then there's some that you just have to at some point realize like you're maybe not a good fit as we're growing into the future.
You've told me your brother's kind of old school too, and he's adopted some of your dad's old school methods, and you're the
Mhm.
tech guy. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Let's see. When you guys took it over from your dad, what was the revenue in 2018?
In 2018, the revenue I think we had was like 700,000.
700. And now where are you guys at?
Like 1.3.
1.3 million. Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys have doubled almost everything, every
Yeah.
part of the firm, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
That's because you've doubled the ownership too, right? Your dad was just one owner.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
right.
He was
So you
one
guys
owner.
have doubled pretty much everything. And tell me about the division of labor between you and your brother. So how many employees? 5 other employees besides you guys, or
5
4?
other employees. Yeah.
5 other employees. At the top, what's the division of labor look like between you guys?
Yeah. So when it comes to the clients, we actually figured the easiest way to split up was clients are assigned to either Joe or me. So we're both doing final review, whether it's the tax return, the bookkeeping. We're doing the final review of our clients on our book. So like if you, like, let's say you sent me a referral, they're going to my book of business, essentially.
So let's say your brother goes to a car show, picks up somebody that says they only want to work with a CPA. Do they go on just yours, or do they still go
They
on
would
his?
go on mine, but we split everything. We split everything 50-50.
Okay.
Because
somebody gets assigned to the client, but revenue
just-
recognition isn't going to be one or the other.
Exactly. And that's where like our model's a bit different than probably other partnerships because, one, we're brothers, took over dad's
Yeah,
firm.
it's blood. Both your names are on the door.
Exactly. And like there were times over our career where it was like one of us who might get upset about something being unfair, but like however you slice and dice it in the big picture, it's like working as a team is going to be the key to growing the firm rather than, hey, this client was mine, that should have been my revenue. Because in the big picture, it's such a small thing to focus on.
So what did you guys do first? I guess you had more bodies to handle the growth, but what did you do to capture some of that growth? How did you guys grow in the first few years that you took it over?
Yeah. So to rewind back a little bit, even before, like when my brother first joined, because he's older, when he first joined, I think in 2010, his only focus was bringing in business. He's like, oh, let's bring all this business. And then I was at PwC in 2012, and my dad's like, we need more help here because your brother's bringing so many clients. But my brother's main thing was bringing in the clients. So when I came in, so we were growing it, even before we took it over, we were growing the firm until 2018. But 2018, the big change was we were able to implement technology and hire. Because my dad was like old school. He's like, we don't need to pay for that piece of software. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. We don't need to hire that person. We could do it ourselves. My mentality. So we always grew it from the second my brother joined. When he stepped aside, my dad, and we were able to implement new things. Like the first piece of technology we implemented was SmartVault, because we use Intuit LeCert for tax software. We used to mail out returns. We used to mail out let's say 1,000 returns. So like, it sounds stupid.
And you're probably mailing out organizers before that too.
Exactly. So like we just have like such inefficient processes, and on a scale firm, like when we had 1,000, we had to mail out 1,000 returns. Like that's actually an important chunk of work to mail out those returns. So once we eliminated those things, we were able to scale so much more. Like, oh my God, we're in taxes, and we're like, oh, we're not busy. And then we could take on more clients. So and that's where the balance comes in. It's like, all right, I don't want to be sitting around doing nothing in taxes. Like I actually like being busy because it's like, then the summer, I feel like I earned all my vacation. I'm like, I could take off, do whatever I want, but I don't want to be killing myself in taxes and being miserable. So like, that's where I try to embody the balanced CPA.
It does still sound like you filled the extra time with more clients, right? So you were able to handle more and do more, and then let's take more on, right?
Yeah.
Your prices, those need to be worked out. So tell me what you've been doing so far to adjust these prices, because it still sounds like they're low for where they should be. If somebody said to me, you could get bookkeeping done for $200, I say, where can I sign up? Because I didn't even know that existed anymore.
Yeah.
So besides Bench, but we all know what's going on and how that's going with them. So how can you guys afford to still offer those prices?
Yeah. So it's really like we don't push the bookkeeping so much anymore. And all the bookkeeping I have is simple bookkeeping. So it's like, just doing bank statement, reconciliation, importing the
right up for the tax return, right? Cash basis write-up.
Just pure compliance. So like, so that's where we gotten better over the years. Is like if a client's like, oh, I need someone to do AR, AP, we refer them out. So like I think that's what we got really good at, is knowing, hey, this is our lane.
To say
This is
no,
what
what to say no in.
exactly. I'm like, this is our lane. We're really good and efficient in this lane. Use our processes and everything's going to be just fine. People ask like what my target client is. And it's really a client who's, it's not like a specific niche. It's like a client who's a specific personality. Like, are you willing to use technology? Do you know how to upload a file? Are you okay doing email? Do you understand making an appointment is necessary, not optional? Like things like that. Like, I just want that common respect, because an older school model was take any client any which way they come, and then that's so much stress on me and so much stress on the team. So like now we have like such a great client base that it's easy to operate when everyone follows the same procedures.
Sounds like you have enough clients that you can start experimenting with some big price increases too.
Yeah, yeah.
You have nice people that'll probably understand. You could raise those prices from 200 to 400 and nobody would leave. Maybe
Yeah.
a few, but those are the ones you probably didn't want anyway.
We have it, and that's the good part is like we've been steadily increasing the pricing, so it's not like a drastic change. But when you say averages, obviously on
Sure,
a
you have
on a
more, you have some more, some less.
yeah,
But
that's just
that's always going to be very important for your business, because in order to get that balance, the only way you're going to do it is by making more money and working less, right?
exactly. And that's the good part. Like we're at a point where my main focus for this year is like one thing that I was super excited about is we, for the first time, last year was the first time we ever billed up front for tax returns. So
Oh,
we've always
tell me
billed.
about that process. How would you know how much to charge if you're doing it ahead of time?
Exactly. And that's why we never did it. And I was like, let's just bill what we billed last year. Because realistically, we barely changed the fees anyway. So
Yep.
we basically told the clients, if you pay up front, there'll be no increase. And it was the first time we used Anchor for our billing system. We were able to bulk send out all our agreements based off last year's invoice.
Sure.
So if they signed and paid before we started the work, then great, there's no increase. That was a big change, but
Okay.
there was like a ton of pushback.
That was in 20. There was this year that you did this?
This was this past tax
Last year.
season.
Okay. So
back
tell
in
me, give me
January.
an example. Okay. You had somebody prepay, then you do the return, and then there's a new rental property or a new Schedule C. They got a new business. Then what do you do?
Yep. All that I did, I would email the clients in advance, like, oh, hey, I noticed you have this new business, this new rental. It's going to be an additional $300. And I could send it right through Anchor because the agreement's already signed. I could go and do a one-off bill. And then next year, their fee would be increased. Like it would carry forward their updated fee. And I had like zero pushback. But that was the fear of doing the prepay model.
Yeah.
What if there's something new? But the clients never push back, not one client. If they knew their situation became more complex, they never were like, oh, I shouldn't pay more. They're
Well,
like,
and that's
oh,
the same reason they wouldn't push back if you're billing them in arrears, right? If you're
Mm-hmm.
billing them after it's done, they shouldn't be pushing back. Or they might say for a second, wait, you only billed me 500 last year. Why is it 800 this year? You know, stuff like that. But
So-
what you've done is you've created a situation where it's predictable. Now, have you sent all of those out yet? Have you sent all of the invoices out for
So
2025 yet?
Yeah, so that was my big every year I try to change one thing and see what works, and I try to give it a lot of thought before I do it because you don't want to do it and it completely flops. But what I did this year, I sent them all out November 15th, and I told them your rate's locked in if you pay by January 1st. So today's December 30th. So I've been getting a million emails, a million phone calls, but like now is the time, like I'm happy to answer the questions, explain this, explain that, even though it's taking a lot of my time. I did all this in tax season last year. So I was so stressed out because I'm like,
This
I'm
is a
answering
time investment.
Exactly. So
Investing it on the front end. This is great.
yeah. So I've
I've,
been like super excited about it.
So what about those people that are already paying monthly? How could you get them to prepay for their tax return too?
I know that's so a difficult with all of our bookkeeping clients. We have them set up a quarterly billing, and we finally
Oh,
have
it's
them.
quarterly. Okay.
We do quarterly billing because our fees obviously not super high for our bookkeeping. So we just do a quarterly billing. But the way it used to be done, we used to just send out. We would have to bill every quarter, send out the bills. Like it was such a manual process.
And
now
you
it's
sent it
fully-
out at the end of the quarter too, not at the
at
beginning
the
of the
end
quarter.
of the quarter. Yep. So now,
Ah.
so that's been my year project is getting everyone into the system, signed, have their agreements. So now, like tomorrow, all of our bookkeeping will bill tomorrow. there's like a handful, maybe of the 200, maybe 10 clients who are like, I don't want to use that system. I'll mail a check and whatever. And that's like, okay, fine. But like, we went from no one being on an automatic system to 190 out of 200. So like, to me, it's like a big win. Obviously.
That's a big win.
Yeah.
So that was a big change that you guys have made. And you said you already know what the change is for 2025. What's that change going to be?
Oh, so the change for 2025, I front loaded essentially was doing the billing now. So like,
So then what happens when your revenue is so much down in 2025? Are you going to compensate for that? Like you've got people prepaying for their returns before the end of 2024. So you've front loaded. I dealt with this too, where we had everybody prepay 1 year and they were post paying for the prior year too. So we had a year that was stacked double. Did you do some tax planning for yourself for this year?
It's so funny. I have a 2-part response on that because I know you know Dawn Brolin, right?
I know Dawn. She's a friend of the show. She's been at Accounting High. Yep.
Yeah, I've been busting her chops, basically saying you have to do this, but she doesn't want to make the switch because she doesn't want to front load her income. But our business is a fiscal year end June 30th, so it didn't matter to us.
What?
But I would have still.
For our students here, you have a C corp first for you and your brother, and it's got a fiscal year. But you guys have S corps that you pay yourselves with. Explain this to our students. I know people have complex situations, but why? Why would you do this?
So because having a partnership with your brother, it's like I'm thinking that going to Scaling New Heights is deductible and going to Engage and all these accounting conferences. And well, my brother's saying, well, I go to car shows and I get clients there. So we were almost arguing on what we should write off through the business. So
what kind of travel would be deductible?
What travel?
Yeah.
So it basically eliminated that, like whatever we deemed relevant for, because we have different personalities, we do different things. So like I'm getting business in different places where he's getting business. So to avoid that, we basically pay our S corps, and then our S corps we operate like, all right, now my business, I'm going and buying Balanced CPA shirts and giving them out to friends because then they're thinking about me and inviting me on their podcasts, and you know what I mean, and building my brand. And
I didn't get a Balanced CPA shirt.
Yeah, I'll send you one.
I'm kidding. I'm not a CPA. I want my Balanced EA shirt. That's what I want.
I'll pull this to you.
Balanced. I'm not even it's a Balanced EA is what I would be. You guys have created a system to where you can now have your discretionary stuff and he can have his discretionary stuff. And then there's no bickering about it in the middle.
Yeah.
Right. So on the C Corp return, do you guys have shared expenses? Are all the employees running payroll through there?
Exactly. Yeah. Like everything that's like a no question, like the rent and employees and the tax software and things like that. It's really for like business growth. Marketing, advertising, that type of thing.
Business development expenses.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. You guys were featured in Accounting Today in 2019.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I see that behind you for best young accountants. Your team is all pretty young too, right? What's the average age? For our students, what's your and your brother's age right now?
I'm 35 and my brother's going to be 39 in 2 months. So we're about 3-4 years apart.
Everybody at the firm is millennial age around there?
Around. We have a couple of people a few years older, a few years younger. So it's diverse, which I actually like. So you get different perspectives.
And you guys have a physical office too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you still work remotely or does anybody do remote work?
I do. My goal is eventually be fully remote. So like I want to get to be like a hybrid firm and then have the ability to be remote because we've always been in office. We've always been like a little bit behind on the technology. So like now I find the laptop I'm on now is like the first time I've had a work laptop. Like when my desktop, it was too old to run the new LeCert program. So I'm like, all right, when I decommission this desktop, I'm getting a laptop and I'm only having a laptop. So I was just down in Florida working remotely for a month down there in November. So that was like my first time ever working remote.
Because you can now.
Exactly.
Because it's possible. Yep. Are you guys using a practice management system or?
Yeah. So we just like about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, we implemented Financial Sense. And that was like, and that was a game changer because before that we had no workflow management tool. We used like Excel spreadsheets. And then I felt like I literally had to manage everything. And now like, you don't know what you don't know. Like everyone's like, oh, what's your practice management tool? And in the beginning when I was going to a conference, I'm like, what's that? Because we never had one, you know?
PM, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, I have no idea. And now that I have it, I'm just like, I cannot believe I didn't do this years ago. But you can only change so much per year, you know?
Yeah. So you've got a billing system, you've got Anchor, you're using Financial Sense. What did you say? LeCert for taxes?
Yeah, let's serve for taxes.
It sounds like you are implementing the necessary tech to modernize the firm, right?
Hmm.
Sounds like you're getting your prices into a better place. It's really hard. I get it. It's emotional. You're tied to a lot of these clients. They've been paying you for a long time. So you feel an obligation to keep your rates where they're at because you're afraid you're going to make people upset. I get all that too. At a certain point, though, to get that balance, that's
Yeah.
probably going to be one of the steps to take is to adjust the prices again. Sounds like do you and your brother get along day to day pretty well?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Tell me
Yeah.
about some of the arguments though. Do you guys get into arguments?
Yeah, we definitely get into arguments on like a personal level, not so much. Usually it'll be like,
Uh,
around like business stuff.
yeah. Tell me about the last business disagreement.
Probably it would be probably last tax season when I wanted to basically tell all the clients they have to pay in advance or we won't do their work.
Ah,
And he's like, well, we've always just did their work and they paid whenever they felt like it. But so I was like, well, we just have to like kind of draw the line in the sand and like the firm was like operating in two different worlds. Like some clients we were only working on if they paid, and then other clients got like a free pass and they were getting worked on even if they did. So it made the process like really difficult.
sure.
And so like this year, but like he saw like the value of making the switch. I get it. Like some clients were not happy, but it's like I'm more worried. Like my main concern is that I don't want to burn the team out. Like I don't want the team to get burnt out because they're dealing with the clients who are really difficult, who don't want to pay. The ones who don't want to pay typically are the ones who aren't giving you the documents you need. And they're not responsive and they're complaining. So it was like a good shift to make. But we were arguing over that essentially,
Okay.
like how to operate the business.
Yeah, old guard too.
Mm.
Your brother's still kind of keeping that mentality or mindset of the old guard,
Yeah.
and you're
And
trying to change things. So does that ever get adversarial? I guess like, oh, now you've got this new tech, and he's like rolling his eyes.
yeah, no, it definitely happens like that. Like another like good example of a shift that we made was my dad had a model that was like, if you're a client, you could call any time and get unlimited questions just because you're a
Like you
client.
did at the dinner table when you were a kid.
Exactly. So you could call 24/7 anytime, ask as many questions you want, and we'll just do a part of the $200 tax fee or $400 tax fee. And I was like, this is crazy. So I basically put my line in the sand a couple years prior, 3, 4 years ago, and I'm like, you have to pay for an appointment if you want questions. And then clients were up in arms, like, what the heck? This
Yep.
never happened. And then
I just have
and
a quick
then
question though.
yeah, it's just a quick question. I told my brother I was going to make this change. He's like, okay. But then the problem is his calendar was still free. So now everyone was bombarding him. He was just doing call, 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 call. I mean, he was getting mad at me. But I'm like, all my meetings, I'm getting paid and it's going into our business. So it's like a win-win. You know, so
Well,
so then but then at the next year, then he implemented the paid appointments. So it's almost like I go to the conferences and talk to people like you, and I'm learning from people who are already where I want to be. And then I take it here and I implement it and test it out. But I have to bring him along a bit. And then he's like, "Oh, that's a great idea." And I always tell him, like, I didn't come up with this idea. I'm talking to people who are already doing what I want to do.
yeah, but you were still the one he was arguing with about it
Yeah.
before. And then when he changes his mind, he has to give you your flowers and tell you you were right,
I,
you
I
know?
don't need. I don't even need that.
But he feels like he probably should
Yeah.
because he was arguing with you. So it's
Mhm.
your like, so what does he think of this balanced CPA thing? He's not a CPA, so he doesn't
Mhm.
probably, but does he live that balanced life like you do?
He definitely does. Like he's like my brother's definitely like the entrepreneurial mindset. Like he's like in a million directions at the same time. Like he's into real estate, he's into cars, he's into event planning, he's into accounting. Like so he's balanced, but like his version of balance I would die. I couldn't. He's like super handy too. Like he'll go fix things at his rental properties. Like he's very like he wants to be out and about doing things. Where I'm like I want to work and do accounting and do what I'm good at. And then after that, I just want to hang out and just chill. You know, that's my balance. So,
Right. Well, or you're going to go work out or go
yeah,
to
or
the
go
gym.
hit the gym. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, do something active too.
Yeah.
Do you have any rental properties like he does?
I don't know. My brother's always like, "Oh, you should do it. You should do it." But like the thought of like hanging a picture, like my brother did all that for me behind me. Like
Dude, I'm with you,
he's
man. I
yeah.
couldn't do it.
I'm
I
terror.
know that. I have that same mentality.
Yeah.
Forget it. Like I leave stuff on the ground forever until somebody else puts it up. Are you a perfectionist?
I've
Do you
gotten
struggle with that?
yeah. I used to be much worse, and now I'm getting better at not being a perfectionist and trying to. I'm trying to think like how could I make a decision that's going to help the most people and have the most benefit? Because being a perfectionist is actually only going to benefit because you can't be a perfectionist on everything. You blow through all of your free time if you need everything to be picture
You'll
perfect.
have no balance.
Yeah, no balance. So I do my best. Like I try
That's
to
why
like
that's why the frames don't go up because you want them to be perfect, and you know you're not going to be able to have the time to get them perfect, so they just
yeah.
don't go up.
And then I feel so stupid when I try to do something that like I know someone could do in 2 seconds. I'm like, this is taking me hours. It's like, and I'm embarrassed to tell anyone.
Right,
Like, oh yeah, Sky, I couldn't put the picture up, so I needed to ask for help.
right.
Like,
But you're getting better at that, you're saying. So
yeah,
what are
I'm
some of
getting
the
better.
steps you're taking to get better at that or to relieve yourself or forgive yourself for doing something that's not perfect? What are some of the steps you're taking there?
Well, when it comes to like work stuff or personal stuff,
Ah, that's another thing. We're talking about the balanced CPA. You should have them
yeah,
both, right? They
yeah.
should both.
I think that yeah, that's been definitely the hardest thing is like when I do my balanced CPA mindset. Like every year I do a vision board and I make my vision board and goals in all different areas. I got better at not beating myself up if I don't hit a goal. I feel like setting the goal is like the best thing you could do. And if you don't hit it, don't kill yourself. I won't like beat myself up and make myself feel bad. Like, oh, I wanted to be percent body fat and I didn't hit it. But I'm like, you know what? At least I stayed healthy. You know,
All right.
I just don't want any area to fall completely on its face.
So let's talk about that. 2024, what were some of your vision board goals that you achieved? And then what were some that you didn't achieve? Give me a couple.
Okay. So one of my vision board goals that I was the most excited about that's carrying over into next year is like the balanced CPA is like the brand didn't even exist when the year began. So like on my vision board, I was like, it was literally a picture I just found online. It was just like a guy ripping his suit open. There's a shirt underneath. It says your brand. And at the time in the beginning of the year, I didn't know what it wanted to be. But I'm like, I want to build up my brand and like, what's me? So like,
This is
balance
like your
CPA, like,
personal brand,
my personal
right?
brand. Yeah. So like that was to me the most exciting thing because when I look at my physical board, like I actually make it. When I looked at it, I was like, I didn't even know what it is, and now I'm like so excited about it. It's like a lot of my 2025 goals are around the balance CPA. Like I want to go speak, I want to go like make a difference, and like because I went on this journey and try to figure things out on my own, and it took so long. Where like meeting people along the way have helped me grow and change my firm, and like implementing the technology allowed me to go have a personal life where
Yeah.
before I was so it's all correlated. I'm trying to think of a goal that I didn't hit. I guess one goal that I always have when it comes to health, like I always read and hear about how good meditation is. It's like, oh, if you meditate, it's really good for you and your mindset.
And so you did not start meditating
I didn't. No,
this
I
year.
got actually reverted and got worse. I used to be better. I used to like take little minute breaks, but now I don't.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
But
something that I can attest to and speak on. I always had these ambitious goals around meditation and I never hit them because I wanted to do at least, 10 minutes a day, this or that. I've effortlessly meditated every day this year. Right now I'm on a 150-day streak. I might have missed like a day here or there within this year. If I missed one day, I always went back the next day. Yeah, that is something you have to be very disciplined because you cannot see. It's not physical results that you can see with that too. It's just like brushing your teeth almost. And the daily practice itself is a practice. You're not going to be good at it. You're not going to stop your thoughts or anything like that. It's something that to find stillness in those moments is to find peace in the other moments of the day too. But that might be your step into relinquishing yourself of the need for perfection and forgiving yourself and going easier on yourself too with that. Because it does sound like you've got a lot of stuff lined up and you remind me of me where I was at that stage too. But at a certain point, you will reach burnout or you will get close to it if you're pushing yourself in all these areas. You're doing amazing things. You've grown the firm. You're traveling. You've got this new brand now, and you have no idea what you're going to do with it, do you? This balanced CPA is just T-shirts, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
No, yeah,
okay
you're
though.
right.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
You don't even need to. You don't even need to do anything with it though. That's the other thing too. Is
Yeah.
once you have that, that becomes another point of people will recognize you and they'll know you because of that, and it may lead to other opportunities, just like speaking or teaching and doing things outside of that to bring in the balance and to make it well rounded, right?
Yeah.
Because I do think balance in and of itself is a myth. It's something that I've never been able to achieve. So I've just given up on trying to balance anything. And I'm just all in on the things that I'm all in on. And there's no chill and there's no balance. I'm sort of like your dad, maybe, but I just have never been able to find that balance. So I'm looking to you to kind of teach me the balance from a younger squire.
I feel like a good test is if you could say on like a regular, on a typical week or month, like you'd say, oh yeah, I was pretty happy this month. Like things were going well. It's like, you're out of balance when like day after day you're burnt out, you're not motivated, because then something's out of balance. I couldn't wait to come to work today. I was like dying to come into the office because I knew I was gonna have a million emails of clients asking about their agreements. We need to sign it before the January 1st deadline. But like I was excited. Like when I feel excited to come to work, if I work a long day, I don't think that's out of balance. But if I'm miserable the whole day,
But look at how you
work.
just frame that too. It's excitement. It's not anxiety around these emails, and it's
Yeah.
not nervousness. It's excitement. So part of all of this mindset stuff and the balance is framing things the right way.
It's funny. One thing I think you might like is I'll journal. I have the worst handwriting. So I started doing like audio journals. Like when I drive to work, I have that 25-minute commute. I'll do like an audio journal, talk about my
cool.
weekend, talking about all those things, and it'll transcribe it. So if I want to use it in the ChatGPT and summarize it, things like that, I could do that. So it's pretty
And if
cool.
anybody sees you on the side, it just looks like you're on the phone too. If you're
Yeah.
talking to yourself in the car, you could
Oh,
be
yeah.
on the phone for all they know. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no one would have any idea. But one thing I said today is like the problems I have now are like the most high quality problems I ever had in my life.
Ah.
So like that's like a reframe. It's like, are your problems like I can't afford food or I can't afford my house, or are they like, oh, I'm figuring out how to change my business processes, or a key employee is not coming into work or whatever. Like what type of problems are you having? And a lot of them are like self-imposed. Like if I'm like, oh, I'm so busy trying to learn how to do social media. Like on Friday for Christmas, I got Christine like this huge dresser so she could have more clothes in her house. And I order off Wayfair, but I paid for the expert assembly because I'm like, and it took the guy on Friday. It took the guy 5.5 hours to build this thing. I'm like, it would have took me 2 days, and I would have been miserable every second. Like the best money I ever spent. Like I'll happily do an advisory
Perfect
call.
example of getting your perfection out of the way and getting yourself out of the way too.
Yeah.
So you don't screw something up. Yeah. So you got a lot of good systems too. One of the conversations that we've had and that I just saw you recently post on was credit card points. I used to game all the credit card systems and everything. And you reminded me of myself when I heard you talking about it and everything. I heard myself talking, but I've also changed my mindset around that. And I'm looking at this like used to spend so much time trying to maximize my points and what I would get back. And then I looked at it like, what if I just spent that time making more money? I used to spend so much time on all these little things to save a buck or two here and there, or I'd make this phone call so I could get this credit for this. And it was just like, now I don't do any of it. And I don't know if I'm better or worse off because of it. So
That's a great point. I do think about that all the time, but it's like almost like what you enjoy. Like part of it for me, like I think it's so much
game.
fun. Like I love the game. Like I don't need to get the free hotel, but when I get it, I want to brag about it. Like I won't brag about like paying to be in an expensive hotel. I'll brag when I'm like, I got that for free just because I knew to do this and to do that, and I could share it with people. And I think that's more fun because like someone who doesn't make a lot of money, you could show them how to do what you did. So now it's almost like a levels the playing field so everyone could do it. But most people the reason why most people don't do it is because they're just not interested, which is fine. Like some people are like my fiance, she has all the credit cards too. And I use the perks for us and she doesn't want to learn. She doesn't want to
Maximized,
learn at
yeah.
all.
She doesn't want to deal with it. Yeah. I get it too. How
Yeah.
about your
So
brother? Does he do stuff like that?
not really. Yeah, he
No.
doesn't. He'll like
Yeah.
accumulate points and then just like he'll do it like the easy way. He'll like use the points to pay for like a nice hotel, things like that. I'm like really into it. Like even like my team, they're always asking me questions about should I get this card? Should I get that card? Dawn Brolin literally just called me to ask me the same thing because all the credit card points are expiring the end of the month, so I have to call her later.
Oh, wow. Okay. So they expire now. I didn't
Yeah,
know that
so like
thing.
every
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Like if you do like that's why I did that post because me and Christine just stayed in DC for the weekend for free. We stayed in the Ritz-Carlton one night, and then we had to check out and go to the Waldorf Astoria. But we stayed in both really nice hotels, paid nothing. But if we didn't stay this weekend, they expire after the first.
Ah.
So like
So you
little
turned it
things.
into a trip. Yeah. It
Yeah,
turned
so
it into a little bonus.
exactly. And that's why it's fun. It's like, yeah, it's sometimes I'm spending time to like learn these tricks, but it's like now we had a fun weekend that we remember and we'll be like, oh, remember we stayed there for free. Like that was a cool time because of
Yeah.
the card. So
Yeah. That was no, hey, I'm not knocking it because I
yeah,
did
yeah.
for years. At a certain point, I just had enough of my like tricks and all the things that I was doing. I was like, I burnt myself out. That's part of that's part of my journey that I'm on to be
Yeah.
a balanced EA here. And I couldn't find the balance, so I just gave up the EA. So as you're growing the firm, what do you see your future role being at the firm? Are there things that you're doing now that you want to stop doing?
Yeah, it's funny because I was actually listening to your podcast last week and how you like you don't even do reviews. So like right now my role is like bringing in new business, changing systems and reviewing. Like I would love to like not review at all. Like right now
Ah,
I'm
okay.
still reviewing everything to making sure that I'll train the team. So like I would like to bring like scale that down and just only have to review like more high level complex stuff. So that's kind of where I want to take it. And like in my dream world in like 10 years I would be or whenever I would just be speaking about
Ah, so you would
it and
just
then
be the balanced. Actually, would
yeah.
that make it so you're not the balanced CPA anymore if you're not doing the firm and balancing all these things and you're just the CPA? Would you become just the CPA?
Well, I feel like if I was just speaking, like you're not really like doing anything with your CPA at all at that point.
So that you would just
But
be the balanced.
yeah, I would just be
You would
balanced.
just be Lewis then. You drop the Nick too. You might as well just become Lewis. What's the
Yeah.
story behind that? You said that's a long story. What's
Oh
the
yeah.
story?
So yeah, so my dad's name is Joseph Louis Boscia. He named his first son, my brother, Joseph Louis Boscia, after him. So my brother's Joe Jr. And then my mom was like, "Well, you named our first son, so I want our second son to be named Nick." And my dad's like, "Well, I want our second son to be named after his father, Louis." So
Oh wow! So
so
your grandfather's Lewis.
exactly. So then where I'm in apparently the story goes I was in the hospital for like 3 days and there's like we can't let you leave until you guys agree on a name. And my dad wouldn't budge. So my mom was like, fine, we'll put his middle name as Nick. And my mom has never called me Lewis in my whole life. And my dad
Ever.
has never called me Nick in my whole life.
Oh really? So your dad still calls you Lewis,
Lewis, yeah.
and you ended up going with Nick because I guess that was what you preferred.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Or your mom was in control of that, so
Yeah,
she
exactly.
ran it. Everybody else called you Nick. All right, Nick. That's
Yeah,
cool. That's fair.
yeah.
Is Nick your middle name though?
It is my middle name,
All
yeah.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Dope. All right. Tell our students you're on this journey and you're getting to the point where you can start relieving yourself of some things. So, what are the steps that you're going to take to get out of the review, or what time frame do you think that would be possible?
So it's happening already because like slowly year over year, but like I've been spending a lot more of my time training and teaching, which is actually like my superpower or ever when you do those like personality assessments, they say like I'm a good delegator in the sense like I'm really good at understanding information and really good at teaching it. So like I like
Disseminating it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So like I like teaching the team and the more they learn, the less I have to do and they're getting better and better. So I want to allocate more of my day to doing what I'm really good at is training rather than doing the review. And I guess I'll have to wait till I get to a point where I see like, all right, I'm not finding any mistakes and they're getting, more gold stars, if you want to call it.
Now, you said your brother does half of the review too. It rolls up to him. Does he have any aspirations to also not review anymore?
Yeah, probably. Because then I think we would have to kind of have a meeting of the minds and decide, do we like want to hire maybe a CPA that does the overall review, which is something like once we like increase our pricing and do things like that, then that would become
You
a
could afford that.
reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Are you guys content with or happy with how things are now? Profitability wise and take home wise, would you like to be making more or do you feel like you're making enough at this point?
Yeah, I think I'm making enough. If I made the same and worked less, then to me that's the raise I want, essentially.
That's the bonus that you
Yeah.
could. So you wouldn't want to be making less and doing less.
Yeah.
You would just let's make the same, but let's do less so we can create more balance or create more
Yeah,
space
exactly.
to
Yeah.
meditate or to do other things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When I say do less, like I want, like as we're modifying the firm, like realizing what
You're
clients
never
aren't a
going to
good
do
fit.
less, though. Knowing you
I
and the
know.
type of person you are, you're a CPA, you're an EA, you're the balanced CPA, you travel, you're doing all this work at the firm, you're handling all of that. You're going to fill that time with other productive things, right?
Exactly.
It's hard for you to meditate because then you're just not getting anything done.
Exactly.
Only time you can do your journaling is by talking in the car. Like it's not like
Yeah.
you're going to sit down. Once you get to the office, you're not going to sit down and write in a journal, right?
Yeah.
Got to
No,
be doing
exactly.
multitasking.
Yep.
It's going to be hard for you to slow down or to do those other things. So your balanced CPA is your other thing that you can make a lot bigger. Just, you know, as heed the advice that as you're filling these new things, keep that purpose aligned. And it sounds like with your vision board and the things that you're doing, you're able to focus on that bigger goal and that bigger purpose. Or where's your your North Star, right? And you're able to follow that. You're on a good path. For our students that are on this path themselves, give them some advice from the balanced CPA.
I would say the best thing that I've done is going to like being eager to learn, like talking to Scotty, talking to other really smart people at accounting conferences. If you don't have access to the conferences, listen to these podcasts because you realize like everyone is really good at something and everyone's really bad at something. So like everyone you meet, you could teach them something. So like every one of your listeners could teach me something that they're doing that is way smarter than what I'm doing. But I'm just staying in the lane that I know what I'm good at. And I think the balance is the most important thing because if you were typically what we see in our industry is like I'll see someone who's making over $1 million a year, but they're going through divorce or their families aren't doing the greatest or whatever because they're focused on just one thing that they're good at and being balanced and thinking about all the areas of your life, I think is the most important thing because making the money isn't what's going to fulfill you or just building the career or just having the relationship. It's like you have to have a little bit of everything. So that'd be my
Staying in your
advice.
lane, too. That's important advice. Dope. Well, appreciate you joining us and imparting our students with your wisdom. Thank you for showing up today at Accounting High, and I'm glad we got to do this.
Me too. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it, homie. Students, class dismissed.
Okay.